Welcome to TGC City Council highlights for April 15, 2024. The meeting commenced with a public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant Program allocation for FY 24-26. This is a federally funded program administered by the state, and the allocation to the city is typically about $75,000 annually. This is the first of two public meetings to give information and receive public input on suggested projects. After the public hearing, the Council moved into a Transportation Committee to discuss participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation's Cooperative Purchasing Program for winter road salt. The urgency for this legislation stems from a May 3 deadline for participation. During the regular session of Council, ordinances for third reading were discussed. Ordinance 2824, introduced by Councilmember Reisner, amends the 2024 Appropriation Ordinance in order to allocate funds for the 2024 Bureau of Workmen's Compensation invoices and adjusting ARPA funds. Next, Ordinance 3024, introduced by Councilmember Spielness, also for third reading, proposed amending Ordinance 6523 to authorize engineering services for the Stimson Avenue Bridge project. The city has been awarded additional funds from the ODOT Local Major Bridge Program for this project. Councilmember Reisner introduced Ordinance 3824 for first reading, amending Ordinance 0321 regarding the allocation of transient guest tax revenue. This amendment will align the city code with the Ohio Revised Code. Mayor Patterson clarified this amendment streamlines the authorization process for the city. Moving on, Council considered Ordinance 4024, authorizing the purchase of a fire pumper truck from Atlantic Emergency Solutions, Inc. Councilmember McCary emphasized the urgency of securing the purchase rate, despite the delivery not being until 2027. The ordinance passed after discussion and suspension of the rules. Ordinance 4224 was introduced by Councilmember McCary, proposing a city network upgrade project. This project will replace aging technology and standardize equipment across the city's network, including switches, wireless access points, and fiber project hardware. The ordinance authorizes the Service Safety Director to enter into a contract with the Go-To IT Group for installation and equipment replacement, with an appropriation and expenditure of $250,000 from the Capital Improvements Fund. Following this, Ordinance 4324 was introduced, authorizing the purchase of a used bucket truck for the street department. The Ohio Revised Code allows for the purchase of used equipment without advertising and bidding under certain conditions. The ordinance permits the Service Safety Director to expend up to $125,000 from the street fund for a 2019 bucket truck that meets the city's needs. Finally, City Council deliberations centered around Ordinance 4524, which pertains to authorizing the mayor to allocate funds for the membership fee of the Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia. The proposed funding would support the Bailey's Trail system. Councilmember Wood emphasized the importance of supporting the Orca and Bailey's Trail system, highlighting their significance to the community's well-being and economic vitality. However, concerns were raised in light of a recent email from Auditor Kathy Hecht. The email urged caution on any future general fund appropriations and any budgeted non-operating expenses until the general fund balance increases to at least 9%. Currently, the city's general fund balance stands at 6%, which is below the recommended threshold. Councilmember Swank underscored the need to adhere to the city's financial policies to avoid potential repercussions on bond ratings and increased interest rates for citizens. This sentiment was echoed by other members who emphasized the importance of fiscal responsibility. Mayor Patterson clarified that while the ordinance authorizes funding, it is contingent upon meeting legal and financial requirements, including compliance with the city's fund balance policy. Ultimately, the council voted against tabling the ordinance, signaling a commitment to further deliberation on the proposed funding for the Orca and Bailey's Trail system. Thank you for tuning in to the TGC City Council highlights.